some monsters hide in darkness, Ted Bundy learned something far more terrifying: how to hide in plain sight. To the world, they were students, daughters, friends. To him, they became targets inside a private nightmare. He did not look like danger. That was the weapon that made him so difficult to see. Detectives were not chasing a shadow. They were chasing a man who knew exactly how shadows worked. Behind the charm was calculation. Behind the calm was something investigators struggled to name. The terrifying part was not only what happened, it was how ordinary everything looked before it did. Patterns appeared slowly, too slowly. By the time they connected the dots, more silence had already spread. He understood performance, and at times, the courtroom became another stage for his carefully built mask. Every file carried a life interrupted. Every page made the monster behind the smile harder to ignore. The question was never whether he could seem normal. The question was how many believed him. She was following the oldest human instinct: going home. Believing home meant safety. Predators rarely rush. They study patterns first, then wait for the moment routine becomes weakness. Sometimes fear arrives quietly, a feeling before a face, a warning before a name. At first, each report looked isolated. Different places, different names, different nights. Then similarities began whispering through the paperwork. Young women vanished suddenly, almost no witnesses. He often borrowed sympathy first. People lower their guard when kindness feels expected. Danger did not shout. It smiled, asked politely, and waited for one trusting step closer. The map told a darker story than any single report ever could. This was no coincidence anymore. Someone organized was moving through the silence. While detectives connected clues, the charming monster was already moving toward the next chapter. Now the pattern was impossible to ignore. Too many disappearances. Too many identical shadows. Different cities, different nights. But one style kept returning like a signature. Then a witness remembered something chillingly ordinary. A handsome man, polite voice, and the name Ted. For the first time, the faceless terror had something close to an identity. The most dangerous thing about him was how normal he looked in daylight. A sketch appeared: sharp jawline, neat hair, the smile people trusted. While police searched paper trails, he moved quietly on four wheels. Tips poured in. Too many names, too many false leads, but one kept returning. When the name stayed, suspicion hardened into pursuit. And while investigators closed in, the charming monster prepared another mask. The search had changed. They were no longer chasing clues, they were chasing a man. Departments were warned. A name, a face, a car, and a growing sense of dread. He kept moving. Distance was one of the oldest tricks in his arsenal. Small sightings surfaced everywhere. Ordinary moments that became terrifying only in hindsight. Then one detail sharpened the hunt. A modest car hiding an extraordinary threat. He could disappear best in places filled with people. The case was exhausting everyone except the man causing it. Then one night, routine policing brushed against something far more sinister. Objects alone do not confess, but sometimes they speak loudly enough. Even cornered, he looked like the least dangerous man at the scene. For the first time, the hunter was no longer moving freely through the dark. Detectives knew arrests can be misleading. A calm suspect often hides the deepest danger. He did not tremble. He did not panic. He behaved like a man expecting to be believed. His were measured, polished, and delivered with practiced ease. Charm can become camouflage when the audience wants to trust what it sees. The objects told a colder story than the man sitting calmly in the next room. Even under guard, he carried himself like a man arriving for an appointment. The public saw a headline. Investigators saw a door that had only begun to open. He knew the real battle had changed, from catching the suspect to proving the monster. The mask had cracked, but what lay beneath was only beginning to emerge. Some men fear the courtroom. Ted Bundy seemed to understand it as another stage. But beneath procedure and polished words, darker truths were pressing closer every day. He spoke with confidence, the kind that can make danger sound intelligent. Even then, some people still saw charm where investigators saw calculation. Detectives knew charisma can distort judgment faster than facts can repair it. Then objects entered the room, silent witnesses harder to charm than people. For a moment, the polished mask slipped, and something colder looked back. Every sentence recorded that day moved the public image further from the smiling man they recognized. Behind every legal argument were lives that never returned to finish their stories. The courtroom had seen performance. Soon, it would face the truth behind it. The confidence remained on the surface. Underneath, cracks were beginning to widen. In rooms like this, a single sheet of paper can outweigh years of deception. When the words landed, the practiced mask struggled to keep its shape. There was no celebration, only the grim relief that truth had finally caught up. For many watching, justice felt quieter than expected, and far too late. The man who manipulated rooms now moved through hallways built to contain him. Cases may close on paper, they rarely close inside the people who worked them. Without the audience, the performance became harder to maintain. What haunted investigators most was never his face, but how ordinary it looked. The warning it carried did not. In the end, silence replaced the voice that once persuaded so many people. For those who chased the truth, victory never felt clean, only necessary. Behind every headline were lives interrupted, stories that deserved decades they never received. The most frightening monsters are not always monstrous. Sometimes they arrive looking trustworthy. Ted Bundy is remembered for what he did. He should also be remembered for how easily people believed him. How many dangerous people are trusted today for the same reason? Tell us what you think.